So here we are, road to Ironman. We just came off doing our first half Ironman at Port Mac, which ended up being a duathlon. We raced really well. Overall I think I was 21st, 4 hours 11 minutes, which is pretty good considering I'd never raced in a bike before. That was my first time doing a duathlon, and they took out my best leg, which was the swim. I was pretty chuffed with that. It's 2nd of June and we've just started our new training block, which pretty much is going to work out from now till Cairns next year, which is the goal to do my first full Ironman. At the moment, from June to August, we're going to do just a big base building block. Still a long way, 1 full year, and I trained for the 6 months like straight, pretty full on leading into it. So we had a few weeks off, we're toning back, and then now we've started the build back up again. So hopefully looking this week to be around 15 hours, and then we'll build up from there. The goal probably getting to around that 21, 22 hours come peak weeks and things like that. That's sort of the max I can fit in at this point, and I think that'll be the max amount my body will be able to like tolerate with the level of fitness I have. We'll see how we build through, but that is the goal. At the moment we're looking 3 swims, 3 to 4 bikes, 3 to 4 runs, 2 gyms. It's sort of the baseline amount of work we want to do each week. Basically everything at the moment is just working on that zone 2 aerobic development, strength work in the gym, trying to stay injury free. This knee was playing up a little bit going into Port Mac. It's gone away, but it was just hanging on for ages, so I want to make sure that I'm doing as much gym work as I possibly can to make sure that doesn't really come back. I want to start making a YouTube once a week. I've been watching heaps of the boys, the pros that make YouTubes, and it's just so satisfying to watch. So like the idea of making my own and getting some content out there outside of TikTok is pretty exciting. So here we are. So I'm gonna do this video. It's just gonna be my first week back at training, and we'll see how we go. So we've got 4 100s moderate with 15 seconds rest. Probably doing like 112, 113s. I think that's the aim. Alright, well, that one was slightly fast. That was a 109. We'll go again. One more. Up in 5. Alright, so that's 4. We did 9, 13, 13, 12. So that's good, moderate. Done our 4 2s, sort of sat just under 120 pace. Just cruise through. Now we've got 450s firm. For those 2 are 31s. Got 2 more. Alright, so the swim's done. We've just had a couple of hours cruising around the house doing some jobs and stuff. And now we're going to do a 12k zone 2 run. Nala's pretty excited. She's ready just to chill in her little house until I get back, aren't you? It's kind of cold here on the Gold Coast now, hence why she's in a jumper. Zone 2, 12k. Woo. So we're just coming in, nearly 4.5k. It's been 22 minutes, just cruising, all fun and games. Alright, so that was 12k. 5:30 pace, average heart rate around 143. So that was just a nice Monday training day. Rolling out now, do some stretching, and then wait for Lana to come home. Probably walk around the block, make dinner, get ready for endurance ride tomorrow. 2 hours, 2.5 hours, zone 2. Pretty excited for that. The biking, I'm definitely really excited for it to come along this year. Are you excited, Nala? Excited for the biking to come along? That is most definitely where I'll make the most gains leading into my full next year. From Port Mac, I think I did 240. That was with 900 meters of elevation and an $800 road bike. So you get me next year, well, when I plan to do my next 70.3 in Feb. I'd hope to be right down on that, hopefully 210, so knock off 30 minutes off that bike. In sort of 8 months is the goal. So we're doing a fair bit of biking. We'll hopefully get like 8 hours this week, something. I don't know if that's a lot, but it's a lot for me. That's it. We'll see you guys tomorrow for our ride. Let's go! So today's session is 2 hours zone 2. We have 5-minute warm up into an hour, 50 minutes at 200 watts, and then 5-minute cool down. It's a nice endurance ride. We've had to drop down to 185 watts sort of progressively throughout this ride. I'm not feeling too great, and I keep sort of tipping over into that aerobic zone, that zone X, and we don't really want to touch in that. So we're just sort of staying at zone 2, just sort of keeping that heart rate, well, I wish it was lower, but we're sort of keeping it down, 140, 145, and then whenever we sort of tick over that, I'm just going to drop the power. The idea of the session is just to stay in that zone 2 aerobic zone, so that's the plan. You're not chasing gains out there. There's sort of a lot of stuff that says you go into that zone, you're losing the primary benefit of the session, and that's what I'm training for, is I want to make the most out of each session, and if that's the way you got to do it, that's the way you got to do it. So right now we're sort of sitting 185, 140 BPM, so I'm happy with that. Keep that going. I've got another 30 minutes, and then that'll be 2 hours. Finished the bike earlier, then went to the gym, 45 minutes. This was our session. I'll run the screen, just pretty much all legs and core, working on all those muscles that sort of get really neglected when you're doing tri training. It's hard to fit it all in, but these sort of the blueprints to keep yourself injury free. So we tick that off, and we're just gonna cruise for the rest of the day. That's about it, on to tomorrow. We're just over 2.5k through. Currently 3 out of 6 through 6 100s. Hanging on to that 115. Full paddles. Good session so far. So yesterday we did the 6 times 1k at threshold. But I actually went more VO2 max efforts. So we did 6, sort of holding around 330 pace, which is too fast. It was a good little confidence boost to know that I can do that. And I've sort of woken up this morning not feeling too bad. So it wasn't the goal of the session, but we'll take it as a win. Then we did 3.8k swim, 3.7k swim, just aerobic work. Nothing too strenuous. And now we're about to go for a 16k long run. The goal is to hopefully get that to being around 35k in the long run, but we'll just sort of build from here, probably a kilometre per week, maybe every week. I don't know, I'll see how I feel. It's 10 o'clock, I've been up since 6 and have procrastinated this whole time, so it's time to get out there and do this run. We're doing good, sort of keeping really easy at that 135 heart rate, which we're happy about. 530 pace, I think. Not really watching pace, just sort of watching my heart rate, which is a nice way to do these long runs without sort of getting too worked up with it. Alright, so this morning's just an hour of easy riding, so we're just going to sit an hour at 150 watts. It's time to freshen up the legs because we've got a big session tomorrow. So we've just finished the 3-hour ride. Now it's time to go to work for another 8-hour shift. We've got a 10k run as well while we're at work to finish off the day, and then tomorrow we'll have a 60-minute easy ride, and that'll be the week. So we're here for the last ride of the week. 60 minutes, easy, zone 2, just chilling. That's the end of my first week back at training, so I think that ended up being around 15 hours this week. So that's our base starting point. From here we just build bigger and bigger week after week. I'm trialing out sort of a new style of training at the moment. Usually I do 6 days on, 1 day off, but now I'm doing 27 days on, 1 day off with active recovery throughout. So just trying to increase volume through frequency rather than just doing the set standard way of training I've pretty much trained my entire life, which is 6 days on, 1 day off, 6 days on, 1 day off, and no real down weeks or anything like that. So, and trying to get those hours up because volume is king. Yeah, so let me know what you like or didn't like with the video. I'm going to be trying to post every single week, so show us some support. Hit that like button down below. Comment if you want to see anything else. Subscribe, hit the notification button. See you next time.